Boom, we're live. All right, what up, everyone? John Mosales here, your host. It is the NFL Fantasy Today show, Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday. And football's heating up. I got my man Anthony Quaranta here, our best ball maestro, who just dropped his top 75 wide receiver list. So we're going to be talking wide receivers, the deepest position maybe in the history of fantasy football. Anthony, what's going on?
Oh, not much. Just happy to be here. Happy to change it up a little bit, go from best ball to redraft and kind of prioritizing this season. So fun mix up. Just again, happy to talk football. Happy to talk about these receivers.
You know, you tried to sneak best ball in the pre-show. You're like, well, what if we just talk about the differences?
What if we just do a draft while we talk about it? Are we sure we're not going to? Are we sure we're not going to do that?
We're never not sure. But I mean, it's heating up. I mean, I remember when it was the dregs early June and there was nothing going on. Now we're almost in August. Preseason's about to start, but training camps, it's like blurbs are going off, guys. Every hour, there's little shifts in rankings and stuff. So, what are the big kind of movers or shakers? Maybe since you started your best ball drafts to now, what's changed for you?
As far as a couple later guys, I'm definitely prioritizing Jalen McMillan a little bit more since we've got the news that there really is no timetable for Chris Godwin yet. It all seemed pretty positive and optimistic for week one in May, June, and now here we are at the end of July, and we get that update a couple days ago, maybe a week ago, and it has me a little bit worried. So I'm definitely moving Jalen McMillan up my rankings a little bit. Xavier Worthy got the bump when the Rashee Rice, I guess, sentencing, we can call it.
Yeah, whatever. We'll just...
So there's definitely been some movement here going on, just with news, with injuries, other stuff going on. A couple of small changes will be made, but overall, just continuing to look out and see what's going on to try to be ahead of the curve.
Yes, this fantasy football season is kind of so long now. We're just so desperate to start for attention. You'll just see a guy make some one-handed catch in some 5-on-5 drill that doesn't matter, and it's like, oh, gotta draft him. He's gonna be a problem. So it's hard to not overreact. But then I'm always a slave to last season, right? We had these kind of summer preseason injuries, and I was kind of like, they'll be fine. They're just, and then Puka Nacua hurt his knee, right? Gets hurt week one. CMC going to play week one, out for 10 weeks. So, or guys that we thought, like Nick Chubb video, squatting 800 pounds, right? Didn't play week 5, looks done. All these guys who were hurt coming into the year or got hurt, it seemed like it was just a massive red flag. So now, do we do the same? Do we avoid, Isaiah Likely gets carted off today, out for a few weeks. So maybe he gets in a few practices for week one. He was one of my big sleepers. Punt on him. Your boy Malik Neighbors hurt today. Probably not a big deal, but it's just well, what do we do with these kind of summer nagging injuries?
So it's important to not overreact because look, anything that happens in July, again, they're going to be extra cautious. And it's going to seem like the world's on fire for some of these guys, right? But it is still worth paying attention to because the injuries can add up. And one of the best predictors of new injuries is what previous injuries, I think, right? So, I mean, it's certainly important to pay attention to, but it's not unless you get some concrete news that a guy is going to be out for the first half of the season or a long period of time. Then I think you start to panic a little bit, but. It's almost a case-by-case basis, but I mean it's tough to really read too much into some of these reports still.
Sure, but I would like to just try to see if we can find a baseline, right? So we got Justin Jefferson, hamstring. Hamstring's one of the worst, especially for a wide receiver. He had hamstring issues, I think, 2 seasons ago, cost him almost half the season, or 4 or 5 games, whatever, felt like half. He said no problem for week 1, but let's say Justin Jefferson was questionable for week 1. And would you now draft Amon-Ra St. Brown over Jefferson? Would you take that certainty?
I don't know that I would go that low. I have Amon-Ra ranked at number 7, and I have Justin Jefferson at 2. But if he was questionable for week 1, I'd probably just bump him down to maybe between like 4 and 6, maybe. But he's just so talented, and it's tough to move a guy like that down unless you know he's gonna miss like the first like 4 to 6 weeks.
Sure, but maybe you're in at 80%, playing the first handful of games. Just Amon-Ra, I mean, what's his ranking the last 4 years? Wide receiver like 3, 4, and 3.
Yeah, last year he was the wide receiver 3. I mean, it's certainly. I mean, look, between the top like 10 or so guys, it's pretty much pick your guy. But Justin Jefferson is just kind of on a different level for me. He's been like a top receiver. He just continues to do it. It would be close, but like if you have those guys closer in ranks than I do, like if you have them in the same tier, then yeah, certainly use it as a tiebreaker. But personally, I don't think that I would dip that low unless again I knew that Justin Jefferson was going to be out for like 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, no, if Jefferson was out 4 to 6 weeks, he's got to be out. He's got to be probably wide receiver 15, right?
Sure.
So let's go. Let's dive right in. So we got your top 75. We dropped them last year. You did the same thing, and we went toe to toe a lot of them. And this year I gave you more freedom, and you earned it. But not that I was right, you were wrong. I think we were probably both right, met in the middle, right?
Yeah. You had me on. You had me on Michael Pittman. I had you on my Drake London love. So we had one to one there.
And Garrett Wilson, right? I was like, I love Garrett Wilson, but he was like, why? He never finished higher than like wide receiver 28, and but then yeah, it's like the fakest wide receiver 11 season in history.
We'll take it. It certainly didn't feel, and that's I think the difference between total points and like going points per game is they can certainly feel a little bit different than what their kind of end of season total points rankings are.
Especially last season, because so many guys got hurt, right? It was a lot easier. I think the easiest probably season to sneak into the top 10 in recent memory.
Sure.
So let's talk about like what was your process, your methodology? Like I love how you put the last season ranking beside the guys because I just think that's really helpful. Just for next time, maybe do total points and then fantasy points per game, right? But
right. So I mean, really, what I do is I kind of just gather a list of these guys, and I look at past performance, the offense, the environment that they're in, the talent, and then kind of just really think about like as far as receivers go, like what offenses are gonna be among the leaders in passing attempts, and what guys are maybe going to make the jump, and what guys are maybe going to take a step back and whatnot. So it's a little vibes based. It's a little analytics based. It's a little eye test based. It's a little bit different than a lot of people's rankings, I think, for that reason. But I've had some success. I've had some failures, just as everybody else. But that's kind of how I do things, really, as far as ranking them.
Yeah, it's hard, right? There's no real exact science. I mean, sometimes you just got to you say, okay, if the draft I had this pick, who am I taking, right?
Yeah, and that's
but even then that can change. But so yeah, you had your first tier. You had 4 guys. No surprise, Chase 1, Jefferson 2, and then we got to talk about number 3. I'm all in Neighbors talent. I watched him. I bet him I bet his yards, receptions, like every game because they just throw to you get like 11, like every 11 targets a game. A lot of them, he's doing this, and, but
sure.
But it's like you never had to worry about him getting fed, right? Like, which is just
170 targets. Hard to beat 170 targets.
So it's just I'm just worried. It was so hard because I don't know how great the talent is. Like we're talking the 90th percentile, right? But like Jefferson and Chase are they're in the 99. They're at the top, like with Tyreek Hill. It's just with the Neighbors because the quarterback situation was so bad. He didn't really, I don't know, get to see. I don't know. Do you think you think talent wise he's just right there, or a lot of it's opportunity usage and is being the sole kind of option on the team?
No, I think talent-wise, he's absolutely among the top 5 guys. Hot take and maybe a little homer take. I think that next year we're going to be looking at Malik Neighbors as the best wide receiver in football from a talent perspective. I just think he's there. And
So,
with
but what is
the
it though, right? Is it the speed, the hands, the route running, the the mobile yards after contact, like the intangible? Like Chase has got the speed, right? That's and Tyreek, right? They just burn you deep, and they can,
yeah.
and
Yeah, so with Malik Neighbors, I think it's just his route running and its ability to get open. He has that like quick twitch that you don't see from a lot of guys, as far as being able to create space and get open. Um, he's also, I mean, I think he's also one of the faster players in the league too. But for me, it's really just the way he moves and the way he runs routes to create his separation, and then he's got some pretty strong hands despite some untimely drops last season for the Giants, but. Yeah,
oh
it's
yeah,
mainly
didn't he? What did he? Didn't he was like did everything on the drive, and they dropped that one little was it like fourth yard, little out?
yeah, and he drive. I think it was like a fourth down or I think it was like a drive killer essentially.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, when it comes to volume receivers, drops really don't matter that much, at least for
No.
fantasy football. And obviously, the wrong situation could have extended the drive, but no, I just think Malik Neighbors is that dude.
But so if the talent is all these guys like are maybe 9, 10, 9.5 or 10, maybe it drops off at the Amon Ra, right, where he's about maybe 8, 8.5, right, out of 10. We're just spitball, but
Yeah,
so really the other qualifiers would be QB offense kind of style, right?
yeah,
Where so Cincy gets 10, 10, 10, 10, right? Chase is a 10, Burrow's a 10, defense sucks, so that's a 10. Pass, right?
sure.
And Dallas, very similar. Their defense sucked last year. It's a passing offense. They don't have a running back. And Dak, who's probably maybe an 8.5, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, I
You know
see.
where I'm going?
Yeah, and we're gonna get to Russell Wilson, who's probably what, like a 5, maybe.
I was going to give him a 6, but yeah, we'll call it 5.5.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that Malik Neighbors was what, the wide receiver 7. Yeah, he was a wide receiver 7 last year in half-point PPR, and that was with a combination of Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Tommy DeVito throwing him the
Tommy
football.
D.
Yeah. So on paper, of course, the QB room is upgraded tremendously with Russell Wilson. A little bit of a mystery box with Jackson Dart, but I think that could certainly be a good thing. And then
How could
Jameis
Jackson
Winston,
Dart be a good thing?
a little bit of a mystery box. You never know.
He can't throw.
Well, we can debate that. We can debate
Jameis,
that.
I'll give you Jameis mystery box. I'd say if Jameis started the first 8 games, I think Neighbors would probably have 1,300 yards.
I wouldn't be surprised with the way Jameis can chuck the ball.
But if I think if Dart's 8 games, I think he'd have probably maybe like 600, and he'd be getting hurt because he'd be he'd be getting lit up all the time.
Sure, so
and it'd all be short yardage.
For this year, it's probably not best case scenario for Dart to be throwing him the football, but long term, I think that could work out. And Dart's more kind of like a long term, I think, pick, which is why they signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston before the draft, to make sure they had guys that can effectively run the offense, so that they could go ahead and take a guy and have him sit ideally for a year, let's say.
But if it's week 5, sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No, you're good.
Week 5, Giants are 1-4, 2-3. Russ has got, he's averaging 200 yards. I don't know, seven touchdowns, 6 picks, and they're like, okay, this season's kind of toast. Let's see what Dart has, right? And I took Neighbors with what my 6th pick here. Essentially, is what you're saying. I'm punching the wall, right? That's the only reason I can't have him this high.
So who are you having ahead of Malik Neighbors is my question. Like, where do you have him?
I have to do Lamb because he was the wide receiver 1 2 years ago. He's got Pickens, who's only going to stretch the field, and Dak, healthy Dak. D was ranked 28th. I think Lamb, Chase are in the same ballpark and intangibles, like all the other things other than talent are working in their favor. And then it would just be. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I have Chase, Jefferson, Neighbors, and Lamb all in the same tier. So
yeah, that's true.
So if you want to take CD over Neighbors, like I'm really not going to fight you over it. Like I think that's a fine pick. But a little bit safer as far as the offense goes. I can see
it's Nico. For me, it's Nico. I'm taking Nico over Neighbors It's not even. It's a blink test, or it's not a blink. Whatever a blink test is, I don't actually know, but I think he's got more talent. He's got 100 times better quarterback. The only thing I worry about is the O line bad on Houston, and their defense is really good. So they're more likely to go, 12-5, while the Giants go 5-12, playing catch up. So, which is a good vote for Neighbors, right? If Russ is, if they're down 28-7 in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, they're just going to feed Malik Neighbors. See, for me, I think the biggest difference there is that the offense in New York is built to go through Malik Neighbors. Like they don't have another option that's even in the same ballpark as Malik Neighbors.
Well, no.
Whereas I feel like in Houston, they at least have some more interesting pieces. They drafted the second and third round receivers in Higgins and Noel. In Noel. Depending on what happens with Joe Mixon, I mean, they've got a good running back. They signed Nick Chubb too for some depth, and then I like Woody Marks personally. They gave up a lot to get him, so I feel like that offense has a lot more mouths to feed than the Giants do. Where I just think that, I mean, Malik Neighbors, I think he's a strong candidate to lead the league in targets.
Sure, I think we've had this argument before, but I just flip it on you, right? When it's like you only have that one target, it's easier to defend, right? That Monday meeting for the Sunday game is like, okay, we got to have somebody over the top of Neighbors. Got to have somebody in front of him. We got someone over the middle, right? Whereas at least with, you have other guys stretched in the field, other options, right? So, and I think in Houston, they're not enough of a threat. They're not on Nico's level, but they're maybe here where Neighbors is here, and then they're here. So I think it's actually beneficial. So I watched every Nico game. I had him in almost every league. He was insane. And when he came back from the injury, he had 2 touchdowns taken away based on like pre-movements, pre-snap penalties, which weren't even relevant, right? So I think it's the vengeance season from hell coming.
Right. And look, I love Nico Collins. I think he's a great pick. Probably worthy of being a first-round pick, right, in your fantasy leagues. Again, for me, it's really just the volume. And look, Brian Daboll is a good offensive coach. We can talk about the head coach. The Giants haven't been terrific. But he knows how to design an offense. And if he wants to get somebody the ball, I think he's going to find ways to get them the ball. And Malik Neighbors has all the talent in the world to make people miss, to get open, whether it's underneath, whether it's deep, intermediate. I just think that this is the year that wide receiver 1 overall is in the range of outcomes for him.
No, for sure. But a lot of stuff has to go right outside of his sphere of influence, right? Whereas I don't know. It's just a personal preference. It's like Garrett Wilson I'm not going to draft Garrett Wilson when he's got who's the guy?
Fields.
Yeah, well, Fields or the guy before Rodgers. I can't remember his name right now.
Oh, Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. I just like even Justin Jefferson. I kind of like JJ McCarthy, but there's some stuff out of camp that isn't great. Although I do love Sam Howell. I will be getting Sam Howell in all my Superflex leagues, but it's just I want that solid. I'll take the less talent for the upgraded QB play, right? So, it's just the QB play for me. Anyways, all right, let's keep moving. We got tier 2.
So I think
no,
that,
you don't want to move.
Yeah, I just have one more note, and then we can move on. So I think that the fundamental difference that we have is you lean more towards situation for like tiebreakers. Of course, you lean more towards situation to break your tie, whereas I just lean straight towards talent. Like I'll take the talent if it's like in the same tier. I'll take the talent over the situation. I just think talent wins out ultimately.
Sure, I think Nico's more talented than Malik. Boom, moving on.
Oof. Yeah, let's move. We can spend all day on these 2 guys. So let's
so just quickly, anybody, if you're watching on Twitter, you don't have the same access as YouTube, so switch over to YouTube. Give us a like, comment. Nico versus Neighbors. This is the new Infinity War. I will be doing a thread on it tomorrow. It'll consume my day. I can't wait. Maybe I'll do. Oh yeah, I'll do Nico. You do Neighbors.
Okay.
And then like, subscribe, check us out. Our draft guides. Up to lots of deals, up to 60% off. Anthony's dropping stuff. He's doing best ball. He's got a best ball drafter, I think, again Thursday. So those are popping, and a lot going on. Okay, so tier 2, which is kind of here's Nico's in, so it's my favorite tier. But Drake London, right? You were high on him last year. No one's ever doubted the talent, but just like we're talking, situations always been crap. It was kind of crap last year, right? Kirk had 5 games without a passing touchdown in the middle before he got benched.
Yeah, there was a stretch there for a little while where he didn't throw a passing touchdown, and despite all of that, Drake London finished as the wide receiver 9 on the season.
Right? That's how nuts is that? So
and
now we got Penix,
yeah.
right? Who's got a cannon. I mean, did he lead the league in passing yards in college? I think something like that in his last year.
He was probably up there. I'm not sure I'm not sure exactly, but they ran a great offense out there in Washington.
But I think Atlanta averaged like 30 points in those 3 games. He hyper targeted London. I mean, everything is screaming true London breakout. You've been on Atlanta since I don't even know how long. You're day one of that train. Congrats.
I was on Atlanta last year.
But what keeps Drake from being in that top tier? Just a little talent gap?
I don't even know that it's so much a talent gap. I think it's just making sure that that we see it from Penix and from the Falcons offense. So that 3-game stretch where he started last year, excuse me, was, I mean, you couldn't ask for Michael Penix to look any better in his rookie season, starting the last 3 games.
Well, and so his accuracy was pretty bad, but.
Well, for fantasy, I should say.
Oh, okay.
At least as far as propping up Drake London to be exact. I have high expectation for the Falcons. I think that they potentially lead the league in scoring or just in total offense. I just want to make sure that I guess I just want to see it first for more than a handful of games before I'm willing to bump Drake London up into the upper echelon, into the penthouse of the rankings.
Penthouse, because he's kind of like got that Amon-Ra, right? He's getting 1,310 touchdowns, but does he have a 2,000-yard, 15 touchdown in him, right? Like, probably just doesn't, have that, but the ceiling is, or the floor is most people's ceilings. Okay, let's keep going. But also, how important is, because I know you love the stack. Like what would you do to ensure the stack? Like, let's say, if you got Lamb, right? And then, because Dak's probably I don't even know, 80, probably 80, 85 range, ADP. Like, will you take him around early to make sure you get the stack? Like, how far will you go?
If we're talking about best ball, yeah, I would, if that's how I was building my team, yeah, I'll happily take the quarterback 12 to 15 picks early to make sure I get it. If we're talking about redraft and managed leagues, I don't prioritize stacking as much. So maybe I'll reach like a half a round to get the quarterback. But if I miss in a managed league, it's not the end all be all for me as much as it would be in best ball. So there's kind of the big difference there in the two.
Okay, and then Jesus, we're only on the wide receiver 6, and it's been 23 minutes.
Puka Nacua, number 6.
So Puka's my guy. I love Puka. I mean,
You said you've been on him since day one. I feel like Puka.
Well, nobody's in on day one. I'm like day 3. But,
okay.
If day one, you're in Vegas.
Sure.
But if you were told you're getting 17 games from him, where would you put him? Like 3? You'd have to, right?
I mean, he'd be in tier 1. I can tell you that he'd be inside the top. Well, he's 6 now, so yeah, he'd be at least top 4.
Okay.
I think I might bump him ahead of CeeDee Lamb, but now we need to talk about Matthew Stafford. And he's week to week with the sore back, which has kind of always been a bugaboo for him. But I just think that for a 37-year-old quarterback that's having back issues, that's holding him out of practice week to week, it's something that I'm going to look at. Again, I'm not going to overreact, so I'm really not going to move Puka out of 6, but it's something I'm keeping an eye on. And maybe if I'm in a draft with a little more money on the line and I'm trying to decide between Puka and Amon-Ra or Puka and Nico Collins, it's just some guys in the same tier. Maybe I will dip down and take Nico Collins instead. But again, it's not something that I feel like warrants moving him at this spot. From this spot at this point in time.
Yeah, guess what? Newsflash. I am fading the Rams for fantasy.
Oh. As of now?
No, just the whole time. But now this just reinforces. Like,
Okay.
I think I'm going to drop my article I wrote about the wide receiver cliff, right? Devontae
Sure.
Adams is right on the cliff looking down. He just needs a little push. I think he's toast. Kyron Williams isn't good, right? The defense is actually really good. I think the team's probably 11-6, but their offense is not like fantasy friendly, right? Only wide receivers. I think we're in the top 22. Actually, I guess Kyron was relative. I think he was like 18, like fantasy points per game per position, right? Stafford didn't have a good fantasy season. It just hyper focuses on Puka, right? If you have him in fantasy, you bet him. Every time they pass, he gets the ball. It's great. But
his target share is like it's just under 30%, which is like top. I think it's like top 5 on top.
Yeah, but then I think like his man defense, he's like the greatest wide receiver in history. He goes up to it's like 45%, and it's just it's crazy. It's just, but I don't want any part of the Rams. I love Puka. I will not draft him. So it's tough because it's like, yeah, 17-game Puka, great. 16-game Puka, amazing. 15, 14, all up to maybe 13, 14 games, right? But
so I'm gonna play. I wanna reverse the game on you, and we're gonna see where the line is for Puka Nacua for you, because there has to be a point where you're gonna draft him this year.
Yeah.
So I'll just kind of go with my rankings here. We'll go with an easy one: Puka Nacua or Nico Collins.
I don't understand. When you can say blank or Nico, it's Nico.
Okay. Nico Collins or Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Nico. You said Nico.
I'm sorry. Puka Nacua or Jackson Smith and Jigba.
So Jason's tough because he's been my guy. I've been big on him all year, but I keep seeing these weird things on Twitter. That he's gonna run, or Cooper's gonna run the slot. JSN's great in the slot. He wasn't great outside. It's just a downgrade in QB. I've seen a little stuff that I'm worried, but I'm not really that worried. So I would take Puka over JSN, but it's close because I think
we lost him. Okay, so it seems like the line somewhere for Puka is between like Nico Collins and JSN, which for me is really only kind of 2 spots. Would have loved to have asked him about at least another 1 or 2 guys, just because I know his Mosales 200 as far as the receivers go is probably a little bit different than mine. And he's back.
I don't know what happened there. But so I was saying, yeah, we had targets, right? So JSN versus Neighbors. Final targets. Obviously, Neighbors is going to be favored. But if you gave me JSN like plus 250, I might take the bet.
Mm-hmm. What about, we'll do one more. What about Puka Nacua or Brian Thomas Jr.?
Brian Thomas Jr. I would take Brian Thomas Jr. over Neighbors.
I should have known that was coming.
But Brian Thomas Jr. just had, it's something. It's the physicality. It really appeals to me. Wide receivers like Nico's so big, so strong. Brian Thomas Jr.'s in that mold. It's just like they catch on the crossing route and turn up. Liam Cohen revolutionized. He just added the slant route to the Tampa offense, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what Evans and Godwin were running. Jacksonville didn't really run any slants. Now there's going to be slant city for Brian Thomas Jr. And every highlight I saw was him running across the middle and turning up, right? That's what he would do. And then he'd get 63 yards every game, the last 5 games of the season. So I'm big on Brian Thomas Jr. Everyone's kind of big on Jacksonville. So, right. Okay, let's just keep going. So Garrett Wilson is right there. I think Wilson and Neighbors are actually very close in talent and situation. Obviously, Neighbors is better, but it's just a similar situation where it's super hyper talented wide receiver with a QB who's just going to struggle to get him the ball effectively.
Yes. So again, this is more of me betting on the talent than the situation. Although Justin Fields has supported two top end players at their positions in DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet was a top 10 tight end.
Okay, Cole Kmet. All right, well done.
But so I think DJ Moore was a top 10 receiver with Justin Fields. So he does have the history of supporting somebody at that high of a level. And I think that Garrett Wilson is a more talented receiver than DJ Moore. So again, it's just kind of betting on the talent. I know people like to make fun of the Jets, but I like what they did with the head coach with Aaron Glenn. it feels a little bit different there in Gotham City. Although I'm sure we kind of said that when they hired Robert Saleh as well.
It's just ugly. It's like you draft Garrett Wilson, you just don't watch the Jet games because right, he was QB. I think he had a few top 5 quarterback weeks last year. But what did George Pickens do? Right, Pickens didn't even have a big play until Wilson was in. So it's going to be a lot of these 8-yard kind of. He runs an 8-yard out, and then Wilson's got to catch it behind him, and then there's no yak. Right, it's going to be 11 targets, 6 grabs, 66 yards.
Sure, and that's certainly a possibility. I just feel like again, there's the volume is there too. I mean, there's
the volume
there
is long.
too. Alan Lazard and Josh Reynolds are the 2 guys behind them. So it's just it's almost like the case I made for Malik Neighbors, where it's just a volume and talent bet on those 2 guys.
All right, you make that bet, I will fade it. Okay, let's keep going. So we got AJ Brown and T Higgins, kind of the polar opposites, right? Like AJ Brown's the wide receiver 1 on a team with a great defense that doesn't pass a lot. T Higgins is a wide receiver 2 on a team with a terrible defense that passes all the time. So this is perfect. You want to bet on the talent, so you're going to take AJ Brown. I'm going to take T Higgins.
Okay, so for me, it's really just a fact that AJ Brown is outside of Saquon Barkley now. Like AJ Brown's like the focal point of that offense. Like that passing offense runs through him. He has like the highest target share in the league, which was 31.7% last year.
Okay.
So like when they throw the ball, like they are going to throw it to AJ Brown, and AJ Brown is going to inevitably make 1, 2, 3 big plays a game. 1, 2, 3 1, 2, or 3 of them likely to be touchdowns. And he is going to single-handedly win you weeks because he is just that dude there in Philly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if we were just betting on talent wide receivers, he's probably is he top 5?
He's up there,
right? Because he's the full package, right?
Yeah.
But it's just his usage sure is high, but it's like he's got a giant piece of a tiny pie.
Yeah, he does. Whereas T Higgins, I know where you're going to go with this one. T Higgins, I mean, they're going to throw the ball probably more than anybody in the league with an atrocious defense.
Which might get worse if Trey Hendrickson doesn't sign. So, yeah.
They did get Shamar Stewart signed. I think that's how you say his first name. The defensive end they took in the first round. So that's a plus at least. But he's certainly no Trey Hendrickson.
Okay, we're at 32 minutes, and we're at 15. This is great. I think people want to hear about stats. Maybe I don't know what we're gonna do, but we'll move a little faster. So now we got Devontae Adams. We got your next one, top 12 upside. Devontae, you want to play? Who would I take over Devontae? The list would just go I'm out. If you're 31 and over, oh my god.
So you're probably out on Mike Evans too.
I'm out on Mike Evans. I'm out. Okay. I'm not betting against history and Father Time. All right, quick spoiler alert. Let me pull up my article. Julio Jones, right? Yep. Julio Jones was my great comp. So 2018, age 29, wide receiver 2. 2019, wide receiver 2, age 30. 2021, age 31. Guess what he was?
Wide receiver 48.
52.
Okay.
I'm just this
is not good.
This is Julio. This is the track record. This is what happens. They're the best wide receiver in football. They for some reason turn 31, and now they suck. Sure. So, or they get hurt. They get hurt all the time too. So,
I like the environment that those guys are in. And I will say that the Matthew Stafford news will probably have me bump down Devontae Adams a little bit, a couple spots, but I'm going to stay pretty bullish on Mike Evans for now, especially with the Chris Godwin news. He's just now even more cemented as the guy that they're going to go to, with Chris Godwin being a little bit more questionable. So I'm going to stand pat on Mike Evans, at least for the first part of the season until Egbuka and Jalen McMillan kind of come on.
So yeah, he was 31 last year, wide receiver 9. He's going to be 32 this year. he also got hurt, right? This is what they don't just the production falls off, their body falls off. It's like a 2-for-1. So it's just like I'm out. But it's crazy that the talent gap in this like tier, the fall off, right? Like Jameson Williams, I love. Sutton, I like. Marvin Harrison Jr., I love. Evans, is the most reliable wide receiver of all time. But like between AJ Brown, Garrett, we didn't even talk about Ladd. It's just so. What are we doing here? Is it you're just more situation, your youth, like because it's kind of like this for the next 30 guys.
Yeah, I mean, so I think there's definitely a pretty big tier break after Mike Evans at 19. Then you kind of get into what I call a big old mixed bag, which I've kind of broken down into 2 tiers. And it's kind of just get your guy at that point from wide receiver 20 to like 30 to like 31. It's like, just get your guy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it really is. But so let's go. Calvin Ridley. You were talking about, worst QB situations in the league with neighbors. Calvin Ridley's right there, right? Led the league in air yards. Everyone likes to talk about no competition for targets. It's kind of a similar spot to kind of neighbors if Cam Ward's good. But like obviously Ridley isn't nearly as talented as neighbors, but he's also getting close to the age gap. That's just a bet on situation, I guess, right?
Yeah. So it's a bet that Cam Ward is going to be better than Will Levis was last year, and Calvin Ridley was still the wide receiver 29 last year. So it's if Cam Ward is better, then theoretically Calvin Ridley should also be better. It's also a volume bet because behind him, there's Tyler Lockett, who I think is probably already at the age cliff, right? Like
he's at the bottom. He already fell.
He didn't even make the top 75. So I think that tells you what you need to hear. They've improved their offensive line through free agency, so that should give Cam more time to throw. And again, I think that they're just going to hyper target and hyper focus on Calvin Ridley in the passing game. He's a reliable target for a rookie quarterback that you want to gain confidence in, or that you want him to gain confidence in himself. So I just feel like he's such a safe pick as a wide receiver too for your fantasy team.
Yeah, I like him. So now we're one guy I love, one guy I don't. Flowers I love, Olave I don't. Because right, Flowers, we're talking about one of the best offenses in the league. Lamar had 41 touchdowns last year. I think Flowers only had 4. Andrews had 11. But if you want to bet him to fall off, and now with the likely news, so maybe their two super tight ends aren't popping week 1, and Bateman hurt. There's a situation where maybe Flowers is the only guy, and is getting 12 targets a game in an elite offense, right? So I'm a big bet on Flowers guy. He was doing it last year. I think he had 4 games with like 100 yards in a row. Then I bet on him, and then he hurt his ankle.
Yeah, I like Flowers. The problem I have with Flowers is that I have a hard time finding the ceiling scenario for him. Yes, Lamar Jackson threw for 41 touchdowns, but it really is a run-centric offense that does spread the ball out quite a bit. So I have the hard time finding the bull case for a ceiling, but I have him to 21, so I think he's a really good pick there to solidify your wide receiver room.
And like, what are the rate? What's Baltimore going to go? Like 13-4, right?
I'd be willing to bet.
How many games going to the fourth quarter are they going to are down? Maybe 1 or 2. How many are they going to be at multiple touchdowns? Right. So why are they going to be throwing? So exactly. I get that.
Especially when you have Derrick Henry that you can just run the clock down with, right? Like, why wouldn't you just do that?
So Bizarro, Olave, Saints probably the worst team in the league. Quarterback, I don't know when.
That's got to be the worst situation,
they had
right?
41 touchdowns. Oh, sorry.
That's got to be the worst situation in the league, right? As far as the quarterback room, the Saints.
Yeah. It's up there. Yeah, for sure.
I again, this is just. I like Kellen Moore. I like the offensive environment that he can create. I think that even without the quarterback situation, if he didn't have the concussions last year, then I think that he's probably ranked even higher.
Oh, for sure.
But so it's just a talent. It's despite the quarterback, it's an environment situation for me because I think Kellen Moore can create a cohesive environment for a quarterback that was in college for 7 years, has played plenty of football. May not be a world beater, may not be great, never really broke out in college. I noticed with Tyler Shuck when I was doing a little bit of research into him. But I mean, Kellen Moore spent a second round pick on him, so I trust that he's the guy that he thinks can run his offense. So give me the talent in neighbors. Give me the talent in Olave.
Freudian slip.
Right. Give me the talent in Olave right around the back end wide receiver 2 range.
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, give me a half a second.
Yeah. So Olave, not a fan. I took him last year. He's got 4 or 5. Ooh, nice, Mark G. We got a question. I'm going to answer your question. Well, Olave. We got a terrible QB situation. We got a bad team, which I guess means they could pass. But the injury history, I just think like Olave's just got to go so far down for me because the one thing too that people do is like I don't want to make it 23, 25. It's like I'd make him like 32. Like if we're gonna do it, let's do it. Okay, Mark G, what up? Random question: would you rather have T Higgins for Chase Brown, 12 teams, super flex, start 10, defending champ? Congrats. Wide receivers: Jetta, Drake, okay, Barkley, Jacobs, and then trash. T Higgins for Chase Brown. Anthony, what do you think?
I think you could probably get a small plus based on the fact that receivers last longer. What do you think? I think I'd probably rather have Chase Brown.
I'm leaning Chase. T's played 12 games back-to-back seasons. I love Chase. You've got Jetta, you got London. Depends how you felt about Ibuka, but if Godwin, if Evans falls off and then Godwin's not ready, Ibuka could be wide receiver 1 and one of the best offenses in the league, right? Baker had 40 passing touchdowns. So,
I'm ready to move Ibuka up my rankings already.
So it's close because I would say Higgins was number 2 in fantasy points per game, but only 12 games. Chase Brown hasn't even done it over a full season, but extrapolated, I think he was like the RB3 or something over the last 8 games. They've thrown him all the time. You got Barkley, Jacobs. Everyone's kind of predicting, the Barkley fall off. I think it could be Jacobs. So I think you got a 50% chance one of your running backs aren't giving you a great season. And we know how unpredictable running back is. So yeah, I would probably do it. Yeah, Chase Brown.
Yeah, I would too. Like I said, I would see if you can squeeze a small plus out of it. I'm assuming this is a dynasty league, as you noted that you're the defending champ, and just kind of seeing as receivers tend to last longer in dynasty leagues, I'd probably see if I can squeeze a small plus in there.
What's a small plus? You keep saying small plus. What does that mean?
Like a 3rd round pick, or just kind of like a end of roster guy that might end up popping off for you. It doesn't have to be a whole heck of a lot. And if not, I'd probably still do it. Again, just John, I think you've got a good point that there's potentially a 50% chance that at least one of your running backs has a down season from last year. So I think getting a 3rd guy, especially if you don't have what you call trash there at the end of the lineup as far as running backs, I think getting a 3rd one is pretty important.
Yeah, and also wide receiver is deeper than it's ever been, right? So even though Higgins is probably going to be, higher on everyone's draft board, just the positional scarcity, you're getting starting running back on one of the best offenses in the league, and he's a great receiving back. So yeah, Chase Brown all day. But it's close. It's a fun one, especially I'd want to make sure you don't have Joe Burrow because you don't really want to give up that stack. But okay. All right, let's go back. Thank you, my man. We love questions. Questions are great. We thought we were going to have more stuff in the top 75, or you might not even make it to 35.
We're still
okay. Another controversial. So again, Rome. I love that you have him high. I think everyone has him high. Everyone loves him. I saw people ranking the O line as like a top 5 O line. So if that's true, I mean the Bears are looking like a 12-win team if their O line is going to make that kind of improvement. And you get the sophomore improvement from Caleb, number 1 pick, blah, blah, blah. So talk to me about Rome quickly.
I think Rome ends up taking over as a wide receiver 1 in this offense. I think it might take them a few weeks to gel under a new offense. But the Ben Johnson offense, as we saw in Detroit, is so explosive. And they did just draft Rome Odunze with a top 10 pick just a year ago. He can run every route at every level. I think he ends up taking over as the 1 and ends up probably being the focal point of the offense entirely, to be honest. So I like him to make a significant year 2 leap.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's not breaking news, but the Ricky Pearsall. I'm just trying to see how much higher do you have? Are you on Ricky Pearsall than say Fantasy Pros? Where's Ricky? So he's wide receiver 42. You got him 25. I kind of love
24.
it. Juwan Jennings a little
24.
banged up. I got no faith in Ayuk. I don't really have my faith in CMC. I've been talking about the San Fran schedule. I had Jason on. We went through it. Like the hardest game they play is like at Houston, like week 8. It's all like they at home Jacksonville, playing Atlanta. So we know that San Fran offense is super explosive. We know they're pissed off. They're going to be a bounce back season. Kittle's getting up there in age too. He's going to be 29, 30. So Pearsall could there's a little world where Pearsall is just like, holy crap, this guy is unbelievable.
There is a world, I know I keep using this term, but there's a world where Ricky Pearsall is the focal point of the 49ers offense, right? If we're out on CMC because of injury concerns, I'm out on Juwan Jennings. I'm not going to buy into like the year 5 breakout from a career wide receiver 4 or 5. It's just not something I'm going to buy into long term. Kittle is aging, often injured. We don't really know when he's going to come back, how long it's going to take him to ramp up. Like there is a world where Ricky Pearsall, like I said, is just the guy that you want to roster from San Francisco. They used the number 1 pick on him a year ago. I'm not really looking too much into last year, seeing as he got shot before the season. But he did have the end of the season. He did have a couple nice games, and I really just expect that to continue.
So this is good timing. If you saw the article I wrote today, guess who's on the cover?
Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, it's the players who popped at the end of the season. Is it is it real or is it a mirage? Right. So I did week 15. I included week 18, but with a little less importance, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at total fantasy points. Right. He was Pearsall was a wide receiver 24 over the last 4 weeks. He scored 48 fantasy points over the last 4 games. 40 of them in the last 2 games, right? So it's like, NBA's got silly season, guys who pop late. Sometimes it doesn't translate, but some they're 10-day contracts. I find in the NFL, like, if you're young, he's a rookie, got shot, if you figured it out late, it's a lot easier to then take that over with another full off season and really pop. So I love buying the San Fran offense, especially fading CMC. Ricky Pearsall, it's ballsy, but I'm not fighting yet.
I think a good example of what you just mentioned is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he was drafted in the 4th round by the Lions a few years ago. I don't think the fantasy community was terribly high on him. Broke out the last few games of the season. I don't know that folks were buying it even going into the following season. And then all of a sudden, from that point on, he's really like a top 5 receiver, right? So, hey, there's a world where Ricky Pearsall follows that path too.
And then we got 2 Miami guys. I love their back-to-back, Waddle and Hill. At least like that you put Waddle over Hill, but Hill, right? I'm giving away my article, but right? Last year, 30, wide receiver 21. He's gonna be 31. It's Hill. Like I would Travis Hunter. Would I take Travis Hunter? I'd take Travis Hunter over Tyreek Hill, like Godwin. Yeah, the Godwin Rice Addison with suspensions. Like, Miami's gross. We're just gonna past Miami. Do you have anything on Waddle Hill?
No, Tyreek could really go either way, which is why I prioritize Waddle. I think he's a bit safer, but
Hill can only go one way. This is wide receiver. It's the cliff's the real thing. It's like it's like because they turned 31, and then it's like he was hurt, or the system, or he got in shape, or blah blah blah. None of it's real. They're done. you ship them out.
We'll have to see kind of how the reports are with how his wrist is and all that stuff as camp goes on. But he's definitely a player that certainly might move as things continue to shake out.
Okay. Big old mixed bag part 2. Huh? Who doesn't like a sequel? So, I love this, right? Scary Terry. It's kind of. Wait, is he 30?
He's 30.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah, your age of you. He is. We can verify he's either 30 now or he's going to be 30 before the season starts. Mr. H. Cliff. Let's see.
I had no idea.
He turns 30 on September 15th. So yeah, right as the season starts.
But he's
Mr. H.
fine.
Cliff.
So that 30's okay. 30's okay. It's
Oh,
31.
okay. Is 30 okay now?
No, 30's okay.
Is 31 the cliff?
31's the cliff. Yeah.
So we got one more year of Scary Terry.
Okay. Because
In a contract dispute with an apparent ankle injury now. Exciting times over there in Washington.
But it just seems you have him a little low because wasn't he second in touchdowns?
I don't know where he ranked in touchdowns, but he was the wide receiver 6 last year.
Right. So you dropped him 22 spots based on.
So I'm really kind of fading the Commanders this season.
Me too.
Like
everyone.
I think that look, Jaden Daniels is going to be a good quarterback for a long time, but I think that now that the tape's out on him, I think he's going to have to adjust next season, kind of how he plays, and so I kind of bake that into what I think about their offense and their situation. And again, I alluded to the contract situation. Terry's essentially said, look, like, I don't know that I'm going to be playing football until something here is resolved or what have you. Then he kind of turned the holdout into a hold in a little bit. He's got an apparent ankle injury, and it might just be noting that just so that he doesn't, I guess, look bad for the in public light without just kind of not practicing. But I'm just a little worried about the Commanders' offense as a whole. And I think that they're a good candidate to regress a little bit this season.
Okay. I think you got to move him up a little, like, wide receiver 6, and it wasn't a fluke. We know he's talented. Debo's not really a threat.
So I assume you're taking him over Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Are you taking Roma Dunes or Terry McLaurin?
Roma Dunes or Terry McLaurin? I don't know.
What about
Ricky Pearsall? Take McLaurin because it's like he had the season we want Rome to have, right? Like it's just like at least he's done it,
What about Calvin Ridley?
I take McLaurin.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
But I hate Kyler so much.
All right, so the line for you is probably like Rob. You'd probably have him right around 20-ish.
Yeah, even that, it's just like he's wide receiver 6, like. So, but okay, we're gonna do a few. We're just gonna go to 35, and then we're gonna call, and then maybe we'll just pick up next week.
Sure.
Right. So Tet, right? Tet, I think he's the first rookie wide receiver. I took him early second round when I took Rick's Dynasty draft. Probably the wide receiver 1. You don't like Leggett, and is it a bet on Bryce Young? Is Tet too low? Because we've seen rookie wide receivers just go crazy, right?
Yeah. So. Ted's going to get to volume, right? He's going to be like he's already the wide receiver 1 there. I'm not a Leggett believer. I just don't think he's very good. I think it's chasing that Debo Samuel archetype, which I don't think that those guys are the best receivers. They're really good football players. Like Debo Samuel's a great football player, but I don't think that they're the best. But I don't think that they're the best wide receiver prospects. So I just don't chase that sort of archetype. And so, I mean, Ted McMillan could certainly move up if Bryce Young continues to look like he did after his benching in the second half of last season. But again, that's another one. Until we see it a bit more in the second year in the Dave Canales offense, I tried to temper my expectations for McMillan there.
Yeah, that's fair because it's not like he's got this game-changing pedigree, right? It's not like he's coming in, should be good offense. We don't know. Defense was an abomination, so they will be throwing, which is nice. Yeah. Okay, we'll finish on Worthy. I gotta go to rugby anyways. So we got Worthy, who was like, if we're talking sophomore leaps, we got KC, we got Mahomes, we got them back to basics. Hollywood is out hurt today; he's broken. We got Rashee Rice suspension. Like, why isn't Worthy the fastest player I think in the NFL with the best quarterback in the NFL? Why isn't he just right to the moon? I don't know why I keep doing that. I don't know what it means.
No, I know. Honest. So now that I missed the Hollywood injury news, I might end up moving Xavier Worthy up a little bit. I just don't. I guess with a healthy wide receiver room, I just don't love his game for managed leagues. He relies a lot on his speed and kind of taking taking the top off the defense. And I think that translates so much better to best ball than it does to redraft leagues and managed leagues, because if you want the good weeks, you have to play him during the bad weeks. And I don't know that I want the bad weeks unless I have some like really like safe players up top on my managed league teams. So that's why I'm a little bit down on Xavier Worthy. But now knowing that Hollywood is also injured,
Well, it's a solid summer injury. Sitting on a real,
well, sure, but if it turns into be a thing and Rashee Rice is suspended for the first 6 games of the year, I mean, yeah, Xavier Worthy is going to move up, because at that point, like, who else are they going to throw the ball to?
But they also use him. They force him into the offense, right? They run him a bit. They throw him quick screens. Like, there's a lot of design plays, to get him the ball. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap up. We only made it through 30, which is great. I'd rather do a deeper 30 than a drive through 75, right? Because we're gonna hit them all anyways. We got nothing but time. But so just everyone, make sure you follow us at Ethos Fantasy NFL. Anthony's at AQ Fresh. I'm at John Mosales. Subscribe to the Sport Ethos YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Fantasy NFL pod. We'll be dropping it tomorrow for anyone not watching live. And Anthony, any last words? Any last neighbors defense before we get into it on Twitter tomorrow?
So I'll save the neighbors defense for the thread tomorrow. Just make sure you tune in on Thursday. I'll be streaming our best ball draft. I'll have the guys from SBS Fantasy on, streaming a little best ball done a little bit differently.
Wait, who are you having on?
The guys from SBS Fantasy. It's a little bit different. You don't draft players, you draft like team positions. So it's
cool.
Yeah. So it's certainly interesting. Make sure you tune in and you'll learn all about it.
Well played.
Happy drafting, everybody.
Okay, we're out. All right, thank you guys. Cheers.